Hello, my friends on YouTube. I'm very sorry about the delay today. I was preparing for a video, however, I saw something on the news and I had to prepare again for that video. Today's video is Islam and a glimmer of hope. Most of my videos actually, when you speak about the ideology of Islam, it gives you a very grim nature of what's happening, and that's reality. So it's rather depressing. However, I try to look for something good. So today, as I was reading the news, there were two small subtitles somewhere in the bottom, and probably not so many people will pay attention to, but to me these are very important. And what I saw are two things. It gives me a lot of hope. Okay. In Lebanon, a news lady or an anchor, she put on her social media, private social media, she spoke against the Lebanese government. She criticized the Lebanese government and said it's a fascist government. And for doing so, the government sued that lady, and her name is Dima Sadiq. Dima Sadiq. I'll put her name and what she did in the description box if you want to read more about her. And for doing that, she went to court with them, and she was sentenced to 1 year in prison for expressing her opinion, and rightfully so. Okay, this mafia running Lebanon now is practically fascist, and anyone who go against fascist ideology ought to be shot. Close your mouth. Okay, so they had to shut her up. I compare this lady, Dima Sadiq, to the woman, or two women to be exact, 1400 years ago, and these two women were actually poets who were well educated, and both of them were Jewish, by the way. Well educated, and they were very good poets, and poet at this time changed the mind of people, shaped the public opinion. So these two ladies contradicted the founder of this ideology that came to us 1400 years ago. Hence, one of them was a young mother, and he sent one of his gangsters to her house, to her home, while she was asleep nursing her baby. And he used his sword or dagger to go through her stomach until it penetrated the other side of her body, the back. And when she stopped moving, he knew that she died. He left her, and he wanted to report to his boss, the highest gangster. She's dead. Okay, good. And the same thing with the other lady, but the other lady was an older woman, and she was very well respected in Mecca. And I'm sorry, in Medina, she was very well respected woman from a very well respected family. But she criticized him. She ought to be killed. He brought her, and he ordered two horses. Some people say camels. It doesn't matter really. Two big animals, and they tie her ankles to each animal, and they tap the animals. They ran in opposite direction. He split her in half, an elderly woman, because she criticized him. He cannot take criticism. Neither the government of Lebanon, neither anyone who follow this teaching. You criticize them, you burn the book, you take the book and try to explain it to them. Now you're going too close to comfort. We can't take that, that's too much. We cannot answer this, therefore shut up. Salman Rushdie, shut up. Okay? He cannot take that book and dissect it like this. You will expose us. You will expose the founder. Leave us alone. We're saying he's a good guy. Cannot criticize him. He's red lines. Don't touch it. So that is concerning this Lebanese lady. She is sentenced to 1 year in prison. This is bad news. However, the good news here is that it gave me hope. Is the people of Lebanon standing up with her, criticizing the government. If this had happened 10 years ago, they'll say, let her go to hell. Everybody will clap to this ideology. She criticized the government. And the government represent the nonsense that came to us 1400 years ago. Cannot do that. Everybody would applaud her. Applaud that decision. But now the Lebanese people on social media criticizing the government for doing that. That is a great hope. It means people are waking up, rejecting the nonsense that came to us 1400 years ago. One more thing happened that also gave me hope is in Morocco. The Palestinian representative of sports went to Morocco to speak. And instead of talking about the sport, he started to speak about the Jews and the Israelis and the Americans and how they are not helping the Palestinian cause, and Israel has to be erased, and because Morocco actually accepted the Israel and accepted Israel as a nation to be in this part of the world as their original homeland. So he is criticizing Morocco for doing such thing, and probably if he had done that 10 years ago, he would have gotten away with it. However, the Moroccan people, again, on the social media, stood up, telling this guy, who are you to criticize us and what we are doing? If we want to accept Israel or not, get out of here. So in a way, now, the things that it was normal 10 years ago to because the founder of this ideology told us that the Jews are filth, the Christians are filth, and we shouldn't really have anything to do with them. We should bring them to Islam one way or another, by force or whatever, or kill them. Pay jizya or kill them. Tax them out of their life until they come to Islam, or kill them. So now, those who believed in this nonsense for 1400 years are coming out of it. Okay? They know that it is sick and it's painful, and they don't want to have anything to do with it. Wait. Couple of more years. I mean, who could 5 years ago, who could have said that Saudi Arabia would say that hijab is mandatory? That was a shock. So in a couple of more years, we don't know what will happen. Maybe we will be able to say that was nonsense. 90% of the population in North Africa and the Middle East will say publicly, this was nonsense. Okay, now I would like to speak and comment about the person who sent me a comment on my last video, because I said I called it sexual disturbance of what's happening. I'm standing on the same ground. I'm just going to explain why I say that. And yes, you follow me because I criticize Islam, but because I see Islam is wrong. But what is it when I see people going to the capital naked or almost naked, dancing on the street, and they call it Pride Parade? What would I call that? Okay, I know some people are born with certain situation. For example, some children are born deaf. Some children born with 6 fingers on their hands or feet. Toes, I mean. Okay, let's say I have an extra finger protruding here in my pinky finger or on my pointer. What do? We go to the hospital and have surgery, remove it, fix it. A child who is deaf, what do? We take him or her to the hospital, and now there's technology to put an implant, and there's a device to help them to hear. We don't go with the deaf people parading naked and say deaf parade. Okay, this is deficiency. A child, when it is born, boy or girl, is expected to hear, is expected to have 5 fingers in his hand or her hand. More or less, it is, in a way, it's abnormal, and it needs to be paid attention to. It needs to be fixed if you can fix it. Okay, so when a child, let me take the yin yang here to illustrate what I'm trying to say. The yin yang symbol, it has two segments, and they are kind of like entering in one another, weaved in one another to represent masculinity and femininity, male and female, man and woman. Okay, and if you notice, if we take, let's say, the black color representing man, you will find a white dot in the center. And if you take the white as representing women or femininity, it has a black dot. That means all of us, men or women, we have, I'm a man, and like it or not, I have certain level of femininity in me. So I can relate to my daughters, relate to my wife, relate to my mother, relate to women, know how somewhat how they feel and what they are saying. Otherwise, we have nothing to do with each other. It's very hard to relate. Okay? And the same thing for the opposite sex. Women have some masculinity in them, so she can deal with the male, with the husband, or the son, or the father. Okay, what happens if, let's say, that dot represent 1%? In the woman has 1% masculinity in it, 99% femininity. What happens when a woman has like 10%? She is still a woman. She is born a girl. She has to continue as a woman. That does not mean she goes let me give you an example. Let's say she has 10% instead of 1%. That does not mean she will marry a man for 4 days and marry a woman for 3 days each week. You cannot do that. She is a woman. She has to make more effort to substantiate a woman. So even the person you know who was born with more femininity in him, he's still a masculine human being, a man with man sexual organs. And man's sexual organs is to get with a woman's sexual organ in marriage. Okay? Yes, I know scientists and doctors now, they encourage that okay, you have more masculinity, you are a man, you have more femininity in you, go ahead and be whatever you want to be. It doesn't work this way. It doesn't work this way. And this abnormality, okay, is not because a child is born deaf that we go and parade and say, oh, I'm proud deaf. If it's a blessing or if it's so good, first, you didn't give it to yourself. You didn't do it yourself if it was so good to be proud of. If it is good, it's given to you. Let's say my IQ is 160. Not many people are 160. So if I say, oh, I'm very special, I have high IQ. Did you accomplish that on your own? No, it was given to you. If it's so good, it was given to you. So to be proud of something that you didn't make any effort to obtain, it's a little bit arrogant, or a very big arrogance actually. And if it's deficiency, what are you proud of? I'm sorry, but I have to be straightforward. I mean, I criticize Islam because of the wrong in Islam. But can you see the wrong here? It's not that I'm trying to upset anyone, but fact is fact, even if it's painful. They tell you the truth is painful. Okay? So here, this is not the norm. It's deficiency. And we don't take care of it by going out doing dance on the street naked or almost naked. Okay? I mean, also the agenda with the children now, that they are trying to normalize it to children. This is a crime. If my child or grandchild have to be subjected to this, this is a crime. Why do you do that in front of children? A child, a while ago, not long ago, less than a year, I heard of it. He was told by the school not to tell all the children, not to tell the parents where they have gone on a field trip. The school took the kids from 7 years old, I think, to 12 years old to a field trip. And normally the field trip, the kids go to a museum, outing, whatever. Okay? But this field trip, it was to go to a strip, I'm sorry, can't remember the word, drag queen bar, 7 to 12 years old. And this been happening for a few years. Only this last year, a child had the courage to tell his mother. Why does the school take a 7 years old to a bar? In America, You can volunteer for the service to join the military at the age of 18, but you cannot enter a bar until the age of 21. You can be a fighter in the military at the age of 18, but you cannot drink a beer in a bar until you pass 21. Why do you take 7 years old to a bar and not regular bar, drag queen bar? Why? You are grooming them. So there is an agenda. Okay? I'm going to put that also in the description box. Robert F. Kennedy, who was running for president in the Democratic Party here in America. And the Kennedy family is well known that they have connections. So when this man, he's a lawyer, he's an attorney, so when he speaks, he's not talking nonsense. Okay? He was saying that the government is adding chemical to the water that it was used on frogs. They had a big pool, and they put male frogs in this pool, and they added this chemical in the water to where the male frogs are, and after a period of time, these male frogs, all of them without exception, became female, ready to lay eggs. And this chemical is in our drinking water. And he was putting his knowledge out there to say the increase of homosexuality and the increase of gayism and transsexual and the sexual dysphoria that is taking place, all that is happening today, could it be because of what we have in our food and in our water that the government is doing? It's a legitimate question, because it has never been like that. Autism, also, he was asking a few questions. The government is doing so many things. Why, one may argue, why would the government do that? Well, recently Bill Gates actually had a Freudian slip, and he was saying that as we advance in vaccine and as we advance in healthcare, we will lower the world population. I'm going to put that in the description box. So if people's health become better and they live longer, how the population will be reduced, by the way? It should be increased. But many people, the elites, they want to reduce the population of humanity because they feel all of us are consumers. We don't deserve to live. We are just consuming. So kill us a little by little. I actually 10 years ago in 2013 I read a book by Dan Brown, the man who wrote Da Vinci's Code. It's called Inferno, and he was predicting what we see today. You can Google it and you can read that book. It's a novel, but it was fascinating 10 years ago, but I see it applied today. What he predicted 10 years ago is today happening. In his book, a biologist invented, I think, a bacteria that it will infect people. It will not get them sick, but it will affect their birth rate. So it will be decreased, I think, by 75%. So automatically, people, the population will go down without any violence, without war. So he was thinking by doing so, he's saving humanity from humanity. Okay, thank you very much. And once again, I made myself clear. Hope to hear from you. Bye.